as promised, I'm going to show you what happens on Monday nights at the Mount Moon Square. It's basically the same thing as in Gold, Silver, Crystal, except instead of dancing around a rock that you can smash and get an invisible moonstone from, they're dancing around the pond, and the moonstone is simply dropped by one of the Clefairies. Now, what this means, you can do this every Monday night. This means that you can effectively have infinite moonstones in this fashion. Let's go and grab it, and after that I'm going to be on my way to bed, actually. I'm going to continue tomorrow. Okay, we are back to Route 19 to finish off these sea routes. And today is December 13th, which means that normally we should learn about the winner of the Dream World giveaway poll today. However, as of this recording, we don't know who won between Arceus and Mudkip, but trust me, I have been studying the last 6 or 7 minutes of the room to be able to replicate it in case Mudkip actually wins. And if you don't mind, I'm going to stop talking about that just to not discourage me even further. Something that happened in the last video that I wanted to elaborate on is that, remember when I got to Faulkner's phone number, and he was talking with Janine about his father? Well, we learn, I think it was actually in the fight against him that the Pokemon that he has were given to him by his father. And those Pokemon, need I remind you, are a level 9 Pidgey and a level 13 Pidgeotto. Now, I think I remember seeing that reasoning in a comic, but seriously, we're talking about a level 9 Pidgey and a level 13 Pidgeotto that were raised by his father, then passed on to Faulkner himself. And you mean to tell me that in all these years, he still hasn't gotten them at any of a higher level? Are you kidding me? Now I know what you're about to say. It's the first gym leader, so of course it can't be any higher than that in terms of levels. But still, if you try to apply, game lore logic to actual gameplay logic, of course the two are going to be incompatible. But I just felt like complaining about that anyway, because it just seems so bizarre that after 2 generations you'd have one level 9 and one level 13, when your average player will reach that point in less than 2 hours. And I guess it's the same as, you know, that huge list of RPG cliches, and there's an item on that list that says that the monster that's terrorizing the first town can easily be defeated by some mercenaries from the later towns simply because they have much higher levels. And I guess it's sort of awkward, too, that really menacing bosses from early on would be weaker than the comic relief boss that you encounter later on. I'm disgusted by wimpy people. I don't know why, but I was thinking that it's about as close to an English translation as you're gonna get for the trashy strolling is an eyesore, if you think about it. But, what was I saying? Well, I was about to say, how comic relief bosses actually have better stats than the more intimidating bosses from earlier in the game. I was about to bring out, the one exception to the rule that I know, namely, the Golem Overlord, which actually sucks that much. The boss from Chrono Trigger that I'm talking about, if you've never played that game. Basically, it's a boss that just stands there, does not attack, ever, and if it weren't easy enough, it commits suicide after a while, which makes it the only boss in gaming history that a dead corpse could actually beat. But I'm not here to talk about Chrono Trigger, I'm here to talk about Pokemon, so let's talk about Pokemon. Something that I've alluded to a couple videos ago, but never really got around to talking. Well, actually, it's someone that very few of you actually know, because I've told it to a few of my regulars, but nobody else. Remember, I think it was a bit earlier in this LP, I don't exactly remember when, I linked to a war story of a guy winning in a game, with a team that was heavily reliant on hacks. And the problem that I had with the war story was some of the responses that it had. Responses to the effect of something's wrong with you if you enjoy this. Well, I'm still standing by this. Who the fuck are these people to telling me what to enjoy or not? But there is one thing, however, and it's that apparently maybe I have been very much misunderstood because, and I guess I'm never going to know the entire truth behind what happened, but one of two things happened. Either I actually got responses from two Smogon moderators, or I got responses from someone who was posing as Smogon moderators, and whoever it was clearly outraged at the fact that I would call that moderator who allegedly closed that thread the Smogon Thought Police. Well, that person, assuming it's true, assuming that person was really a Smogon moderator, entirely missed the point. I was not talking about whoever it was that closed the thread. And I could have perfectly understood if that person just said, it's part of our policy to lock down war stories like this because those aren't exactly what we're looking for in a war story. I'm a human being. I can comprehend that. I can understand that kind of policies. What I really had a problem against was not the fact that the thread was locked, but rather that other people, I don't think the moderator was one of these people. Those people outright calling other people stupid for enjoying the war story. I wasn't asking for it to be unlocked or anything like that. So if I really talked to a Smogon moderator about this, well, that person entirely missed the point. It was not the point that I was trying to make, and just explaining the whole policy thing would have gone over with me a lot better than personal insults. And that's why I have a hard time believing that the reply was from an actual Smogon moderator instead of someone who impersonated that moderator. Because of the fact that, well, I would expect someone in the Smogon moderating staff to have actually... I'm just going to stand over there, thank you very much. I don't feel like triggering another random battle just going after her. But yeah, I would imagine that a Smogon moderator would be able to figure out that I wasn't talking about him, and I'm not mentioning this because I want to make it personal or anything like that. It's just something that, I wanted to set the record straight, especially since none of you actually saw what happened for reasons that I don't think I would need to get into. So, with that being said, I think that's the end of that. I'm gonna let sleeping dogs lie from this point on, and put this whole thing behind me. Personally, I still enjoy that war story, though, and feel free to enjoy whatever you come across, and not really. And if you disagree, at least be somewhat civil about it, okay? Anyway, moving on. I've been playing. I've been replaying the classic Mega Man series lately, and it occurred to me that it has a few parallels that can be made with Pokémon in certain ways. Mostly in regards to the designs of the robot masters. I mean, a lot of attention is going towards, whenever there's a new generation, how well are the various Pokemon designed, and obviously you'll have a lot of disagreements between those who think that a Pokemon quality is inversely proportional to its national dex number, and those who actually can accept Pokemon, each individual Pokemon for what they are. And it's sort of funny because that idea also comes back in Mega Man by introducing bunch of new robot masters every couple years, and something that I noticed is that robot masters from the earlier games tend to have free passes just as much as, say, Generation 1 Pokemon. I mean, if you look at designs like Cutman or Woodman, those are pretty fucking ridiculous designs if you ask me, and no one really complains because they're among the originals and stuff. That's why you don't really see many people complain about the really very bad Generation 1 Pokemon like Dugtrio or Haunter or Mr. Mime, or I could go on all day, but you know what I mean. There were even Pokemon that were practically human muscle man and nothing else. That's almost not a Pokemon. That's almost like real life, but that's not the point I'm trying to make either. What I'm trying to say, though, is that it seems that for some reason the fan base became more critical as the years went on, as the games went on in both series. I think we all remember when Mega Man 10 was first announced. They revealed one of the robot masters that was going to be in that game, and fatal mistake. They just had to choose the worst one they could possibly choose, and I'm referring here to Sheepman, but hang on a second. Did I just see that guy was called Elmo? Really? Is Elmo a real name, or... Actually, I don't know. Don't answer that, because the last time I asked such a question, you know, about that trainer named French, a few of you actually answered me that there were a few famous people named French, but still, maybe they were running out of names since they had to actually add trainers to these areas compared to Gold, Silver, Crystal. Actually, maybe Elmo was there in Gold, Silver, Crystal and wasn't even added at all, but that's besides the point. Now I have just completely derailed my monologue, did I? But yeah, as I was saying, revealing Sheepman first was a terrible marketing mistake. It's like, imagine for a second that Vanillux was the first Generation 5 Pokemon reveal. That wouldn't have gone over well with anybody. At least we sort of lucked out there, and the first Generation 5 Pokemon reveal was actually pretty badass, but that's neither here nor there. It's like, I don't understand. Okay, fine, Jamie, I'll talk to you. How are you doing? Have you ever seen Eradicate before? Okay. Boring! Anyway, I remember when Mega Man 10 was announced alongside Sheepman, everyone was like, oh my god, this game was gonna suck! Have you seen the kind of robot masters there's gonna be in that game, even though only one was revealed at that point? And, yeah, it seems like people are a lot more critical than they used to be. And that goes for both franchises, where totally ridiculous designs or otherwise really bland ones go over a lot better if they're introduced earlier in the series. Notable exception being Top Man. I can't believe how much ridicule it gets despite being, from Mega Man 3, one of the big fan favorites, which just goes to show it's just plain the worst Robot Master in the series, if you ask me. The worst Robot Master with the worst weapon on top of that. Seriously, have you ever tried using it? It's like, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it only takes off a few bars of energy, sometimes it's actually going to drain your entire ammo clip in a half second. It's just, I've never been able to understand that weapon at all. And the worst thing is that I'm pretty sure that they made it bad on purpose, because it's the final boss's weakness. Only one shot with it and it's dead. So yeah, maybe they just imagined, you know, let's make a weapon so bad that no one would ever think of using it against the final boss, and then let's make that weapon the weakness of the final boss. Yeah, actually, if that's what happened, that was pretty clever, but that wasn't worth wasting a weapon slot just to give us such a terrible weapon. Anyway, we are now done with these sea routes, so next time on Pokemon Soul Silver, we are going to return to Viridian City, and at long last, we're going to tackle the final gym of the game,